Officially, guys, wanted to say thank you very much. So again, Tsuka is a name that everybody likely knows, launched back on May 26th of last year. So much vagueness around this project. If you look at what happened, shortly after launch, Ryoshi went out and he deleted his different social accounts, switched his profile picture to, let me get the specific name here.
Milarepa.
Milarepa? Milarepa? No, I got that wrong. Milarepa, just to, again, she's a famous Tibetan yogi. And that's really where, again, the concept of Zen and Uncle Nut will really be able to elaborate on this when he jumps on the mic. But, the concept of Tsuka is really meant to be one of, from a community perspective, of calmness, of togetherness, of unity. So, I really do love how the community has come together. And if you guys look and think about Tsuka, the first thing that comes to mind is community. If you guys, we talked about social sentiment in the previous AMA we just had. If you guys look at, most of the major social metrics, most of the analytics charts that break down crypto, break down DeFi, break down the meme coin sector, Tsuka ranks top 3, top 5 in almost every single survey, every category I've run through. And that is not accidental. The lore with this one created that story. And, I come from that recruiting background. I used to sift through profiles, backgrounds, and it's very difficult to stand out. And the one thing I always remember that always, from my end, the way you stand out, the way you become different is by creating and telling a story. And I think once you guys listen to the AMA here with Tsuka today and the team really gets their passion coming through the mic, you guys will understand how, as something where, you may not even be able to find a white paper when you go on the website. You might not really be able to truly understand what the project's about when you're trying to do your own research. And that's what this project's about. It's meant to bring people into the community because that community factor is what's going to be selling people on Tsuka. Not selling in the sense that they need convincing, selling in the sense that if you spend time around them, you're really going to be impressed. I think most of the members of the team came into this project and were wowed by the fact that the community was so strong and were essentially converted by strictly being investors to being full-fledged active drivers of the project here. So again, there are a lot of different components in play. They have some amazing supporters. I mean, Patty Stash himself runs 2K plus person Twitter Spaces. Uncle Nut runs, yoga seminars and different kind of tranquility exercises within the group there for the community. It really is kind of creating that family vibe, but it's doing it while also being mentioned in the same breath as Shiba, Doge, and, one of these blue chip projects that can potentially push through that ceiling and really get that mainstream attention and accomplishments that they're hoping for. So very, very community driven. There's a lot to break down with this project. So as mentioned, probably run 90 minutes in length. But at the end of the AMA and, what Caesar and I are really trying to push towards this year, and I know Tsuka and this team will really kind of drive that message home, is I hate the conversation of I'm too late. This is too late. We're too late in the game, because you never know when a project can take off. And if teams and communities are doing things the right way, how can you know when you're too late, right? So, I'm really excited. I'm hoping, having the chance to interview more projects like Tsuka and really break down at the core what makes a phenomenal community and how, without having maybe all the technical utility that some projects have, how you can achieve such amazing milestones from a cap perspective and from a community perspective. So, we're here today with Tsuka to really change that mentality from I'm too late. Oh, I'm too late at 500K. How am I not too late at 50 million? To focus on the future and try and push that mentality to be not about the market cap, but about what they're trying to accomplish here with this one. So again, I hope I started to create a bit of a picture for you guys on what Tsuka is, what they're trying to accomplish. And with that, I am going to throw the mic over to the team here. I would typically like to say, start with introducing yourself, kind of your role within the community, and then we'll jump into more of the lore and the background of what Tsuka actually is.
Okay, so I start by introducing myself. PR, are you okay? Yeah. So I'm Ivani. I'm with Tsuka Tanka, and I've been on board Tsuka since I would say mid-June. So I was pretty early, and I've been absolutely fascinated by what transpired over the few weeks after I joined, and it took me a few weeks to understand the magnitude and the of what was happening and the magnitude of the opportunity. It's absolutely incredible. So I was both incredibly lucky, and also I got good friends who one of them all the way is the guy who actually showed me the Tsuka Tanka very early on, and I owe him a lot, obviously. So anyway, yeah, being in contact with the right people, and that was something very special. And seeing the community form step by step, I went from being totally incredulous. Pretty much, when I bought, I assumed it was just a LARP, a Ryoshi LARP. And over a few weeks, I became a total fanatic. So that's who I am now. I'm some kind of a Tsuka Maxi fanatic, and I'm here to represent. So that's all my introduction.
Great to meet you, Ivani.
Good to meet Ivani. My name is Russ PR. I, like everyone else here, am a very grateful member of the Sangha. The Tsuka Sangha is what we call the community. That's where we all get together. That's the name. I think, like everybody else here, maybe not, Patty was actually largely part of the reason why I looked at Tsuka, as a lot of us will tell you they share that story. But it wasn't Patty that kept us all in Tsuka. Patty was certainly the reason a lot of us came, a lot of the reason that it got a lot of the attention it did. And then everything that Tsuka is what really keeps everybody there. Most of the people that speak here, although they come with really great backgrounds and, they bring a lot to the table for the community, but we're all just simple members that saw this barge floating on the ocean before us, and we all jumped on it. And now we have dedicated ourselves to keeping it safe. So I'm really grateful to be here. Thank you guys for having us up, and we can talk to the other team members.
I just want to say thanks, Phil. I thought that I'm here, with my rambles. I thought that's what kept everybody in Tsuka. So I guess it's not the rambles.
It's part of it, for sure.
All right. Well, I guess now that I'm talking, most people probably know me. I've been in crypto 6 years or so. I've been in traditional markets over 20 years. And I started off working at a hedge fund. I was a trader. So I come from an investment background and was able to kind of take my knowledge of what I learned from 20 plus years in the market and roll it into crypto. And over the past 6 years, people either love me or hate me. There's really no in between, because I like to be very vocal on things, and I'm willing to challenge or be challenged on anything if people want to challenge me on things. So a lot of times when I say things, it may not be what somebody wants to hear, but it's statistically accurate. So, I have mixed feeling, Anyway, and you mentioned something about having 2,000 people on Twitter Spaces. I'm not quite there. I've had some pretty good spaces. I had one where quite a few people jumped on, but I do have a way of talking a lot that sometimes either drives people nuts or really engages people. So I'm not going to do that right now, but I just wanted to kind of introduce myself. Most people know me in here. I'm super bullish on Tsuka because of other reasons besides the Ryoshi idea. And it's, kind of a mathematical perspective, which I can get into later. But, working at a hedge fund and doing what's called equity financing taught me a lot. And that's what I did, years and years ago. So knowing how companies work, how, teams work, how you need to keep the money flowing to keep things going, it takes a lot out of a lot of these projects, because the only way that they could keep that money coming is by selling tokens into the market. And Tsuka doesn't have that element. So it gives it this major, major appeal that I don't think a lot of people really grasp. But fortunately, there's been a lot of really good graphics been put out lately, and some people are starting to understand the mathematical element that I've been trying to portray to people. And, it kind of alleviates that huge human error aspect. So with Tsuka being a community-driven token, there's no team to be, paid. And so there's no need for dilution. And so, again, not going to get into that. I'll talk about it later. But this is a token that in the beginning of July caught my attention and really stopped me from doing everything that I was doing because it was such a market outlier. And the one thing I just want to say before I stop talking, before I got in, the price pumped astronomically. And when it comes to tokens, I am very, very anal about the criteria a token has to have in order for me to want to buy it. So for me to buy Tsuka after it already made this astronomical pump tells something about it. And the crazy thing is after I bought in at around a half a penny, it pumped up to 15 cents. So it made a 30x pump on top of this astronomical pump that it made prior. And so a lot of people were thinking, how in the world did that happen? Most people don't get it because of the math, but some people are starting to figure it out. So if it did that once before, it has the capability of doing it again. So we'll see. But I'm more bullish on Tsuka than any other token I've ever bought in as far as cryptocurrencies. And it's because of the math and alleviating the human error element. So that's all from me.
I'm really, really excited to jump into the math element with you. Prior to this, like my background actually in schooling was, one of my favorite topics was calculus. So I actually big numbers guy, big math guy myself. So can't wait to go into that again with you, Patty. And yeah, like big following on Twitter. Actually, one of the most recent spaces you did had about 2K people in there. So you're growing, man. Really, I think people respond with your kind of very direct, no bullshit attitude. I like it personally. I think I also wanted to touch on the fact that something that came up in this space last night, it touches on what you just mentioned about the penny versus the 15 cents is the two biggest holders in Tsuka bought in around 80 and 100 million, and they're not going anywhere. So I will say that before we transition it over to Uncle Nut.
Hey guys, pleasure to be here. Actually, very grateful and blessed to be here, and it's great to be around all you legends. Can you guys hear me?
Loud and clear, man.
Perfect, brother. Okay, so I started in crypto around 7 years ago. I've got the war stories that go along with that, and I'm also lucky enough to, I guess, had the forgiving prices that many years ago to not be punished too bad for my mistakes. I basically formed a community 3 years ago, focused on trading, calls on TradingView. I was doing some pretty crazy calls on, tokens called Matic when they're, nuts and bolts and Doge and all that. Got lucky with some calls. And then a friend I've been sharing calls with that basically said, why don't I get active on Twitter? You've got an account there since 2009. You don't use the bloody thing. So I started to publish calls there and, a bit like Patty just sort of, blurt out what I thought, whether people like it or not, don't really care. And got, lucky with, I guess, publishing every single call that I made so that people could see that I was not bullshit. I was, transparent. And I guess that the people that really like me like that fact. And I guess 70% of those calls during the last bear run turned into, 2Xs, and obviously some of them did crazy numbers like thousands of percents. But basically I focus on education, the channel, and, like Ryoshi, being the fisherman, I'd rather teach people how to fish than preach about, what goes on. But getting on to how I discovered Tsuka, basically, I got in late. One of the community members, CP, basically brought it to my attention and said, hey guys, this is worth you having a look at. And I did some research on it, and basically tons of my calls come from the community itself. And I probably look at 100 calls, and I might make 1 or 2 out of 100 that get suggested. But I could see straight away that Tsuka had a couple of things that just blew me away. And the tokenomics was just the outstanding thing. Being in crypto 7 years, you used to start, I don't like calling it the way it is, but, in the sense of like VCs destroying tokens, but that's what they do. And, they're getting in at 95% discounts, crazy number discounts to what, retail investors get in. And I thought the first thing that blew me away is like everyone had to pay for a token here. And I was like, oh my God, this is a 10 out of 10. And I bet this is going to be a call. So I kept digging deeper, interviewed Taba. Sir Verlin actually went to Dubai, met up with Sir Verlin face-to-face with his team, Taba, and obviously got a lot of information from CP, chatted to Archan, got to know many of the community before I even made, what my call was, which was obviously later, much later than, what you guys all got involved with it. But I'd started watching it in October, and I can't remember the exact price, but I know it peaked at like 15 cents. I was like, there's no way I'm calling this call at 15 cents, no matter how much I love it. And I just waited and waited and waited. And by the time I'd done my research, it sort of was like the perfect storm where it had come down to below 4 cents. And I thought, well, it's now or never. And put out a 9-page report, which is on my channel, posted everywhere to the community. And basically within 24 hours, it'd done a 2x, and 24 hours after that, it'd done a 3x, and it peaked again, I think, around 13 cents, 14 cents. So, and then of course, we've sort of watched it sort of dribble down again, which to me is great because, you're now spreading the tokenomics and distributing the token even further. And whilst we've got a couple of people that do hold a lot of tokens, we're very blessed that compared to other meme tokens and other tokens in general, the type of distribution we're looking at the whales is basically negligible. In fact, I'd say it's nothing. And then like the other thing that really blew me away is that this community, the moment I started communicating in the chat, basically nobody knew me in there at the beginning because I was doing research and asking questions. I'd see all these crazy cool people that had been involved with this token and were just like so passionate. And the fact that I talked about meditation and all these things that I'm a practicing Buddhist, and like all these things that I love and doing. And, we're like, oh man, this thing talks to me at so many different levels. It's crazy. And then I started looking into the hold account and going, wow, this is insane. This is so damn early. I mean, as of today, we're still early, 8,652. Get us to 100,000 tokens. And, I calculate we're looking at something over $2, a market cap over $2 billion. Get us to a SHIB token, hold account. And we're talking about a price of $28, more than. So, to me, this is like insanity. It's like, it's just waiting to happen. Whether it happens in 3 months or a year or 2 years or 3 years, I don't give a shit. It's going to happen. Are we going to get to 100,000 holders? Absolutely, we will. Will we get to 200, 300,000? I don't know. We probably will. But when you're talking about the money, you're talking about life-changing money for everybody that's involved. We don't care how rich you are or how poor you are. This is insane. So, Tsuka having none of the baggage that 99.9% of tokens that I investigate and actually, get involved with was just as pure as it could be. And once you understand how that impacts your bag, no matter how small it is, that's when you really understand the magic. 100,000 holders, $2.26 or thereabouts. Utility. Everybody talks about friggin' utility. I'm sick and tired of it, to be honest, because most of the utility you get told about is complete, BS. Here, to me, the utility is two things. It's the community, and from the community, there will be utility build. Already, Sir Verlin's, like, through his connections, got Tsuka as an accepted currency on, like, a crypto card, and this story will get duplicated time and time again as we go down the track. So, when you've got, and the other one, of course, is the perfect tokenomics. And I know that Patty loves that, and, you can't not love that. I don't want to keep talking too long, guys, but, everyone is damn early on this one. I don't care whether you got in when I got in October, November, or you got in at June. Everyone's early. And if you get in today, you're still bloody early. So fantastic being part of an amazing, phenomenal community. Let's teach more people how to fish.
Well, again, it's really, really incredible Just getting the chance to hear from all of you, Uncle Nut. I've heard amazing things at how you just really bring the community together through some of those, meditation sessions that you run on the Telegram group and stuff. So I will say, TG and that, traditionally is very toxic by nature. So it's just cool that people, again, even within this space have been able to find kind of a safe haven, for lack of a better term. So I would now love you guys. I don't know who wants to take the lead on maybe starting to break down a little bit on the origin story. So for those of you who don't know the history of Ryoshi, he initially at one point was part of the SHIB team, but, there was a slight falling out, didn't have the same ideas in terms of the direction they wanted to continue taking this. So again, there's a great backstory, such a rich history behind, what makes Tsuka, and, who is Ryoshi. And I think you guys will learn again throughout the AMA that, definitely somebody that we believe exists, but also from what Tsuka is meant to stand for, I think you guys will learn that, Ryoshi is meant to be, at the end of the day, the community, right? The concept here that we're trying to build up is, we are all Ryoshi. So again, I'll pass this one to the team to let them jump a little bit more into the actual lore and the backstory, but just to give you guys a little bit of a teaser on the history. That's kind of how things started and how Tsuka, the concept on this one came about.
Can I just give the 2-minute prehistory to how Tsuka came about? I want to just real quick mention about Ryoshi and SHIB and kind of what happened with that. So when SHIB came out was in 2020. A lot of people don't realize SHIB came out in mid-2020. It had 12 zeros when it first came out. I discovered it back when it had 9 zeros in January 2021. So what happened is, at the beginning, when I got in, there was only 1,500 holders. And everyone, nobody knew what this token was, but I had an idea of what it was capable of. So for months, I talked about it. Nobody really paid attention. Then all of a sudden, Elon Musk made a tweet that brought attention to it, right? So it starts pumping, and I start doing a little deeper dive. And I look into the token distribution. That's like the first thing I look at. Chart, token distribution, and I like the token distribution. It was a really massive supply, but that doesn't really matter because it's relative, because it's got 12 zeros. So it's like, you remove a zero from the supply, you remove a zero from the price. It's like they cancel each other out. So 1 quadrillion in the supply, 500 trillion got sent to Vitalik Buterin's wallet near the inception of the project. And so that got a lot of attention to the project because people are going, why is Vitalik Buterin holding 500 trillion of this token? Like, why? And they're like, oh, did he buy? People don't realize that you could just send tokens to anybody's wallet. So they sent half the supply to his wallet. And they basically were telling the team, or they're telling the community, those tokens are burned. And I had a big beef with the team and the community. And I'm saying, listen, guys, they're not burned. They're just moved. They're moved to a wallet that you guys probably never think they're going to get, sold. So it's technically they think it's burned, but they're not burned. It's like taking a dollar bill. You light it on fire, it's burned. If you take that dollar bill, fold it up and hide it somewhere, somebody could find it and still spend it. So it's not burned. So that's what they did. So what happened is, fast forward months later, Vitalik Buterin one day decided to dump $1 billion worth of SHIB. He dumped 50 trillion tokens, or 10% of the supply that he had, and he dumped a bunch more of these other tokens that did the same thing, airdropping tokens into his wallet. So he literally raised over $1 billion in one day by dumping these shit coins and meme coins, shit coins, meme coins, whatever. But what I didn't like is after he did that, he donated that money to India. And then the SHIB team basically said, hey, we're taking credit for that. And that's what bothered me. So I say to myself, wait a minute, you guys said to everybody, those tokens are burned. But then because Vitalik Buterin did something that was so generous, you guys basically took the credit. And shortly after is when Ryoshi left the project. So that was the one thing that I think that really kind of sent Ryoshi off this different trail, because initially SHIB was more about community. There was nothing driving it except for the community and the math. So I said to myself, Tsuka has those same elements, but a better token distribution. So that's the pre-Ryoshi story of why he ended up leaving SHIB. And then I had no idea that this went on until I discovered Tsuka. So I'll let somebody else take over who got in before me that knows the Tsuka story much better. Oh, yeah.
That was a great free history. Thanks, Patty.
Okay. So maybe I'll try to frame it a little bit differently and try to kind of articulate what our interpretation or my interpretation of what happened is. So anyway, when it comes to Shiba Inu, right? What Patty said is very interesting, and it shows. He reminded us about the donation of half the supply to Vitalik Buterin, and this is just one of the little things that clearly show that Ryoshi is some kind of a branding genius. The guy is kind of a narrative brand genius in many ways, and just to show how powerful that thing was, we still have dog coins launching today that still keep sending half their supply to Vitalik Buterin. It's still happening today. So that was incredibly influential, and obviously it's still being copied absolutely nonstop. So the way we understand what happened with Shiba Inu is we think that Ryoshi grew more and more wary and discontent with what was happening within the ecosystem, and with the people who emerged as the developers, people like Shitoshi and others that progressively gained massive power and traction in the community and started steering the community and especially the tokenomics and certain market elements in a direction that was very, very much selfish. And if you look at what was done with bone, for example, the way the bone farming was let's say carefully managed. There was very early interesting management of the bone farming incentives and the bone team allocations. The same thing. This, when you look at bone and the way they are building some of the extended ecosystem around those ancillary assets, or secondary assets, where they have a much bigger power, those guys, and not the community itself. So this already was kind of a red flag. And you've seen some of the initiatives launched by the Shiba Inu ecosystem recently. So besides Shibarium, obviously, which is the most ambitious development that's supposed to happen this year, you've had things like their Welly NFT collection. So they had some kind of a partnership or branding partnership with a burger chain. They had some shoe NFT stuff. They have a video game that was released on mobile phone. And when you look at all the way those things are structured, all of these things are done via private entities. So they are corporate private entities where in most instances, Shitoshi is a shareholder or a partner. And those entities are using the brand. And what actually gets in the community, how does it actually benefit the community? Very, very little. If you see, for example, the Android game, the mobile game they released, I think they said they would allocate 5% of, I don't remember exactly, I don't want to misquote them, but they allocate something very negligible to burns, to sheep burns. So you can see they're really just trying to stuff on the brand, and they're not actually involving the community in creating this. It's kind of the same thing. It's very disappointing. You've got an absolutely gigantic community. They've got more than 1 million holders. They've got probably, they had at their peak, they had probably tens of thousands of active members at the very least, and they couldn't find their developers, their designers within the community. They had to go to corporate entities. So they went to an Australian game design studio, for example, to develop their mobile game. Are you seriously telling me that there was no game designer, no small indie studio in the Shiba Inu community when they said, okay, we're gonna make a game? Are you seriously telling me that? So anyway, I think you guys are kind of getting my vibe. They're not involving the community. They're just like, it's pure corporate, business as usual stuff, just using the brand. So that's one, when we see this, obviously, and you've got many members of the Sangha today who are former Shiba Inu holders or current Shiba Inu holders. Many of them were heavily disillusioned with what happened. And so it's not very hard for us to see that when you had those trends within the community and when you had those exchanges public exchanges between Shitoshi and Ryoshi. And then almost instantly after that, Ryoshi just vanished. He just like left the community entirely, and then popped up again 1 year later with Tsuka. Now we know that. But yeah, so that's how we understand Ryoshi discontent. And you know, it's very hard to sum it up because I seriously spent dozens of hours contemplating the Ryoshi's writing. You know, the kind of scriptures on-chain scriptures he's been giving us in some way. I've been looking at the tokenomics. I've been looking at the lore. I've been looking at the ethos he's breathed into Tsuka, and my impression is that he's really learned his lessons from the Shiba Inu experience. That's really my feeling. So you see, for example, if you look at the way Shiba Inu did things, Ryoshi himself, early on, you know, he tried to use common early DeFi schemes and mechanisms for Shiba Inu, right? So there was some farming, there were various things, and guess what? Tsuka has none of those. And all those schemes that we've seen during the DeFi summer 2020, obviously was absolutely batshit crazy, but those things really went on steroids in 2021, and almost all those devices, all those mechanisms, starting with yield farming, have been used against retail, against most investors, most you know, crypto players or members of the crypto community, and they have proven to be unsustainable and unrealistic and not tied to anything to any actual value creation. So it only makes sense that Ryoshi would come back with something as pure and as simple as Tsuka, the way we've seen it, right? So that's for, you know, I tried to give a short explanation of the way we see Ryoshi leaving SHIB and entering, starting a new project, pretty much. That's the one he calls his finale. He said, you know, in one of his messages, you can find in the journal, he says that he only had 2 journeys, and you know, the second journey is his finale. That's Tsuka. That's his definitive experiment. And so far, I have to say that it's working incredibly well, considering the circumstances and the time when he chose to launch it. So the thing that you gave a pretty good summary of the very early events. The thing is, you know, the big thing that was understood by many community members a few weeks after launch was that, okay, Tsuka's dev, who we're calling Ryoshi, front ran Ryoshi's profile picture change on Twitter by 4 days. And he did that by alluding to Milarepa, the Milarepa character to which Ryoshi changed his PFP to, in ways that could not be properly understood at the very beginning. So 4 days before Ryoshi changes his PFP picture, Tsuka is launched with the name Tsuka, which already contains the key to Milarepa, but we don't know that. We have no way to know, right? So that's what happens. 4 days later, Ryoshi just vanishes, changes his Twitter PFP, and the Tsuka dev starts sending, you know, signs, riddles, breadcrumbs, and people start to understand the meaning of the Tsuka, of the Tsuka name, for example. So we now know because he mentioned Sangyon Heruka, that Tsuka obviously is a cryptogram of Sangyon, the TS from Sangyon and the Uka from Eruka. But also, Tsukami also has several other meanings in Japanese. And it also means, for example, it means the handle of the sword, the katana. It means currency. It means rite of passage or initiation. And all those meanings are, all of this is meaningful. So if you think about it, we've got 4 different meanings in one word. How could you imagine that he would be able to do this if he was not Ryoshi? And even being Ryoshi, I mean, it's incredibly difficult. Can you imagine? You choose a Japanese word that has 3 meanings, all of them relevant. And it also happens to be a cipher of the name of the biographer of Milari. So, you know, I have yet to see anyone, you know, bring any explanation that passes the basic smell test. You know, if you want to believe that's a coincidence, up to you. right? So anyway, I just gave the most, like, kind of the biggest clue or the biggest thing. But the thing is, we have dozens and dozens of similar coincidences. We've got several layers of front running by the Tsuka Dev. We've got incredibly rich and powerful messaging by the Dev. That's why I was saying he's giving us on-chain scriptures, and they are relevant both to what's happening to the entire space, the crypto space as a whole, and they're also relevant to what's happening at the Sangha, to the Tsuka Sangha, the Tsuka community when it's happening, because we know Ryoshi is with us, he's watching us, he's listening to us, and he's shown us in many ways. We know, for example, he might be listening right now. For example, it's kind of, I wouldn't be surprised if he was listening to us right now.
Crazy. Yeah, and again, like I think it's that kind of that concept of like ambiguity, I think a little bit that creates that feeling of the unknown, right? And I do think it's a powerful tool to get people to want to be involved, and it does. It's like it's a really good organic kind of like hype mechanism, but not hype in the sense that it's false. Hype in the sense of like you want to kind of follow along and see how the story plays out, and like that's what ties back to what I said in my introduction. I think with a project like, Tsuka and what you're building up there in the Sangha is really, really impressive. And it does have a very deep link to creating a story. And I think over time, I'd be interested to see how you guys transition. Again, we talk about SHIB and we talk about Doge is projects that started out as low caps that really have created not only just a following, but a brand. And I think that's kind of the next stage for you guys, is to be recognized now moving forward in the next step or the next leg of the project is not just a crypto project, but when people see your logo, when people hear Tsuka, think of the brand, right? And that connection, I think, is really when you start to hit, a further level of, I come from the sales background, and for me, I have a psychology minor as well, and I always talk about emotional connection. And I think when you become a brand, it's that emotional connection hits a certain level of strength with individuals, and they do really fight hard for what you believe. And I'll say right now, in crypto, you guys are already very much a brand, but as we push it forward and as you guys, again, look to accomplish your ultimate goal, which is, 100, 200, 300 plus 1,000 holders, and just continuing to grow the ecosystem and have it set up in a way from the mathematical side that Patty can break down later, why it's going to be, again, more sustainable than something like SHIB or one of those others that's risen to some really incredible heights in the past. So thank you very much, Ivani, for going into the deep history there. And I don't know how you guys typically like to spin off of that subject, if you want to go a little bit more into the actual community. For me, I'd love to have you guys maybe break down or list. This is a little bit of a different question. Didn't go through this on Twitter. I'd love to have you guys each kind of break down your favorite moments so far, or maybe the moment that you remember that kind of made you a believer, that milestone, like what pushed you to that emotional connection where Tsuka was more than just an investment and became something that you believed in. I think that would be good because it allows people some insight into your own personal journey. And as they start to connect with you as a project and as a community, maybe they'll have something like that in the future. So I know it's a bit of a different spin than you might typically see, but I would love to have more of a personal breakdown of what really kind of pushed you over that hurdle.
Absolutely. Well, I tried to give a quick answer, then I let PR give his answer. But first, if you're okay with that, I just want to bounce on what you just said, on a few things you said during your intro, just for clarification. For example, you said, for example, there is no white paper right now, and you're right. There is absolutely no official white paper, but we had a community proposal white paper, which is available on Medium right now. And if people want to read it, it's only one of many very thoughtful and interesting articles written about, memetics, monetary economics in the new crypto age and stuff like that. That's been produced by the Tsuka Sangha. So we've got we've got some pretty interesting content. If people want to read the white paper proposal, I strongly advise them just take a look. It's the vision of some Tsuka members. It's not everyone in the Sangha, but I think it's a powerful document, and it gives an idea of some of the higher level things we're aiming for. Another thing you said before was like you talked about the feeling that some people have of being too late, right? And obviously in Tsuka it's going to be something that it's going to be a point because Tsuka right now is in between two worlds pretty much. It's if you look at where it's coming from, it's already old. It's incredibly old. Most coins that start the way Tsuka started, they have a lifespan between 5 minutes and 2 weeks. That's about 95% of them. So yeah, Tsuka is already a Lindy effect, almost a Dino coin for where it comes from. But when you look at where it's going, it's incredibly young, incredibly early, both from a market cap standpoint and community standpoint. Every single metric has been absolutely explosive, and we have seen growth that no other asset has seen in the bear market. But yet we are fully aware that we are just at the embryonic stage. The whole market is kind of hibernating right now, and the Sangha is one of those places where how do you call the city where the ants live? There are a lot of little ants working, a lot of worker ants working hard in the Sangha right now. But we are fully aware that we will reap what we saw months from now, and we'll start reaping it months from now. Yeah, so it's not for right now. Yeah, that's same thing. When you look at Tsuka, right? You've got to realize the kind of potential we're talking about. We're talking about something that has absolutely insane potential, and we know that because of what Shib did, and because it's Ryoshi, and because the tokenomics are pure and identical. One of the important points about those the tokenomics that Paddy will develop at length, and one of the important things is that in Tsuka it's this 100% supply circulating, no dev wallet, no team wallet, absolutely no inflation of any kind. It's real. You've got quite a bunch of tokens that pretend to have similar tokenomics, but they use various schemes and subterfuges to actually hide insider positions and stuff like that, which leads to very unfortunate endings and circumstances for those tokens. But in Tsuka, we know it's real. We know we have a benevolent dev, and we know that he's actually doing what he says he's doing, which is he's leading a next-gen community experiment. That's what he's doing. So we know we know Tsuka has absolutely incredible potential. If you look at every single metric, every single telltale that you could see during you just look at the circumstances, the bear market, one of the absolute worst times in crypto history. Tsuka launched in May 26th, just a few weeks after the Luna crash. So literally during one of the worst dumps, mega dumps of the entire crypto market, dumping like absolutely crazy. And you look at what Tsuka did during the next coming months, the next few months, insane community growth, real brand identity building like crazy, social engagement absolutely dwarfing any meme coin, any project, including projects that had 100 times, 1,000 times more holders. You've got other signs. I mean, if you understand what kinds of signals you should be looking at during a bear market to make your bets, to take positions, to know which asset is very, very likely to give you something absolutely insane, you're going to be looking at those things. So one of the things is which token attracts the most copycats and the most clones, and which brand is instinctively understood by the market as the brand to rip off, the meta, the new meta. And obviously scammers get incredibly active whenever they see something that looks really incredible. And guess what? That's exactly what happened to Tsuka. Tsuka is by far the token that has been the most copied over the last 6 months. You've had hundreds of dragon tokens, hundreds of Japanese themed tokens, tons of meditation themed tokens. after Tsuka, all of this, and obviously tons of tokens trying to imitate Ryoshi style, talking through the blockchain, blah, 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 all of it astroturfed and very cynical in many ways. Unfortunately, you know, their fate is there for all to see, and it's not a beautiful sight. But yeah, those are parts of the things that show you that, yeah, Tsuka is the one. That's what we like to say with more and more conviction. I see absolutely no other asset with that kind of profile. So anyway, now very quick answer to your actual question. You know, the moment when I, it's very hard to say because it was a gradual process. I can't say that I had one moment when I understood that yes, I'm right where I want to be. You know, that this happened as the kind of evidence and the hints and the breadcrumbs and the messages started piling up and piling up and piling up, and making it harder and harder for someone like me. You know, I'm very cynical, I'm very like rational, so I tend to be like that. So I will be incredulous by default. You know, you need to, if you try to tell me that something really incredible is happening, you better bring really solid evidence. Otherwise, I might be nice, but deep inside, I won't really believe. So anyway, more and more things kept piling up, making it harder and harder for me to deny that it can't be a coincidence. There's no way. There's absolutely no way this is a coincidence. So that, and in parallel, the other thing, because that might not have been enough, is the community, the development and the growth of the community, and seeing tons of people on a daily basis being deeply impacted by their experience within the Sangha and within Tsuka in an incredibly positive way. I've seen people, literally hundreds of quotes, people spontaneously saying some incredibly beautiful stuff about what the Sangha experience, what Tsuka brought them, that I've never ever seen in any crypto project ever. Never, right? And I've been in crypto for a while. I mean, I bought my first Bitcoin in late 2012. I've done a lot of stupid shit in between, so I'm not the giga billionaire I should be, I guess, but I've seen quite a few things, and I've never seen anything like that. We actually have selections of screenshots and stuff that we might post in the future so people can see, but it's like, you know, it's incredible, it's real. And the Sangha, the Tsuka values and the Sangha's values, they promote goodness. I know it can sound a little dumb, but that's how it is. I mean, you've got a lot of good people in the Sangha. You've got a lot of smart people. You've got a lot of people who are not cynical, who are not in there for a quick extraction. They're not there to dump on retail. They're not there to attract the naive at exit liquidity. We're not there to do that. We're there to build something much, much bigger, which is what you said. You know, we're there to build the biggest brand ever in crypto after Bitcoin and Ethereum. Okay, let's be modest. But yeah, we're there for that. And by saying that, I'm fully aware that brand can be the term brand can be some kind of a bad name. You know, like it sounds very corporate, very markety, very blah blah blah. So I'm using it, and I think so are you. I'm using this as you know, something bigger than the way we think about brands in general. You know, think about, for example, I'm just going to take a very basic example. Think about how the cross is kind of the logo of brand Christianity, something like that, which is an absolutely gigantic movement, almost 2,000 years old, 2,000 years old, that has absolutely transformed history. And you've got many, many, many other similar things, right? So I'm thinking of the term brand in that way. And yes, the dragon itself is absolutely a new brand, and it's an incredibly powerful image. You know, when you take dogs are funny. Doge was funny, SHIB was funny, and was a play on Doge. It's kind of a Doge derivative with different tokenomics. You know, the dragon is something else. It's another level. The figure of the dragon, you know, it's an incredibly deep and an important figure in pretty much all human mythology, in ways that our friends, the doggos, cannot emulate. So it's, you know, the brand, the image of the dragon are only a tiny part of the mosaic of elements that paint the Tsuka picture, and it's a very, very powerful one. I'm sorry if I, if I spoke too long.
Okay, man. I appreciate you jumping in there, Vani. And again, you know, if anybody else has a bit of a different experience, Happy to jump in. I do also want to spend some time. I messaged CP saying, you know, I want to make sure we spend at least 5 minutes going into the giveaway that you guys have upcoming. January 21st is the date it was extended to. And I mean, there's some pretty incredible prizes. Largest community funded giveaway, you know, I've seen in the space. I think that's existed. The fact that it's all community donated, really, really incredible. So if you guys want to jump in with an example, if it's maybe something different than Ivani, but he did cover a lot, go ahead. Or if you wanted to transition to the giveaway, I do want to spend a good amount of time talking about that because, you know, you're going to be doing a lot more of a push in the days leading up to that.
Yeah, my name is Russ PR. Thank you, Ivani. By the way, yeah, but I mean, you let these guys talk in front of you, they're going to mention everything. They got all their ducks in a row. It's the Tsuka type of people that we are, and you know, anyone who's here is certainly been through the crucible of crypto, and you know. Being the degens that we are, I mean, a lot of you have been in this game a lot longer than even I have. I mean, I'm pretty new to this. I've only been in this game for about a year or two, but you know, you get through one of those cycles and you start getting that understanding of the broader picture. But I was trying to think about it as Ivani was speaking, and like I said originally, I came here because of Patty. Patty said, and really, I came here to ruin their whole thing. I was like, there's no way this is a Ryoshi thing. I had a lot of fun with the bone in Shiba when that first came out, and you know, yield farming and doing all that. So the fact that I was possibly in a coin that had the pedigree that was connected to Shiba, and I thought that was enough, but I knew that wasn't true at that point. So I personally embarked on a mission to you know, come up with the really simple thing that everybody was missing that would punch a big hole in this whole party. And now I'm part of the party. I serve drinks. So that's kind of how it works for most of us here. The thing is, though, is I get the benefits of my contribution to the Sangha after the fact. I did not come in here with the belief that this was ABC, XYZ. The tokenomics are nice, but you know, all of that seems to be the reason people stay once they realize what they have. And, you know, I think somebody had mentioned that they don't like the utility conversation. That is my favorite part of this whole bag because, you know, there's a lot of utility out there. You know, you've got a lot of fun little things that move that people can use. Are they sustainable, though, is really the question. I mean, is your, you know, the little wallet that you guys made do anything is there any need for it? And that's, I think, utility over need under sustainability is really where everybody's moving. I mean, this whole space, this last year has been rough. I mean, luckily we didn't have to throw any tea in a river to get taxes gone. These tax tokens are done. Zero tax on buy, zero tax on sell. It's the new way. You don't need, Tsuka does not need this perpetual funding mechanism built in because it's the community first. I mean, you take care of the people. People are beautiful. People I mean, got it. And most of the good people that you connect with are all over the Telegram with Tsuka. That is the safe haven that we all found at the end of this market. And I mean, all that, like the Luna crash. I mean, all you need to know out of everything that Ivani said, all of those things that stand true is that the person who really spearheaded Sheeb, the maker of Sheeb, the creator Ryoshi, has a falling out with a team and deletes everything and takes on the face of Milrepa. And unbeknownst to everyone, 4 days prior, a coin launched which primary theme was nothing but Milrepa. that alone was it's unfallible. It's undeniable. I'm either on the team with the person that knows the future, or I'm on Ryoshi's team. And for some people, that's all they need. For others, that's a part of a brick in the wall. But I can personally tell you, if you guys haven't been in the Telegram, you may not understand this, but we were making one of our last legs up, and we were coming down in a retest, and there was lots of FUD and uncertainty for certain people saying, oh no, will it hold? Will it bounce? And I remember being in a place of loss where I didn't care. And I just sat in the Telegram and watched the chart, and this thing bounced like you will not believe. It went down a little, it stopped. It turned around, it went up, and it's continued that trajectory. And you got slash tags swirling around you in the Telegram. The place is lit. It's a party. And it's all pure people who are interested in connecting in a loving way to the people around them. And I haven't answered any of the question that you asked about the giveaway, but yes, that's that's why I'm there. It's unfortunate because Ivani's really, it's his brainchild. The giveaway is massive. It's, first of all, before we go into that, you want to talk about utility? A group of degens negotiating a hostage transfer of our LP that was that some hacker absconded with, and we got our money back as long as everybody else's. It's call that utility. That's getting things accomplished in a way and sustaining through just misfortune is ultimately what everyone should be looking at, because highs are great. Highs are great. Everyone loves the green candle, but to be able to really avoid the red, to be able to really stand when things are quiet is very, very important. But yeah, the giveaway is incredible. It's I think one of the largest community funded giveaways there is. There's one of the prizes. It's 55,000 Tsuka to one of the winners. Tons of NFTs, which is actually also I don't even think I should be qualified to speak on that, because I'm not big in the NFT world. I'm simply here to pass out drinks and help everyone that wants some information on the Sangha and bring up the people around us and just try to push this message forward. But yeah, the giveaway is going to be incredible. It's going to be. I think we just extended it. It should be going on for the next few weeks now, and yeah, I can't wait to see what comes of it.
Yeah, I'll touch on the giveaway a little bit, and thank you, Russ. You were amazing as always. This giveaway is open until January 21st. You have 11 days, and the amazing thing about this giveaway is it's 100% community funded. It's funded by members of the Sangha. And there's not one winner. You've got a good chance to win if you enter the giveaway. I believe there are 77 or 78 total winners. So as Russ was mentioning, grand prize will be 55,555 Tsuka. Now that might be $2,700 right now, but if you hold it for a year or two, I mean, I haven't gone into what I think about the potential of Tsuka. I've this is only the first time I've really talked on behalf of the Sangha, but you hold it for a year or two, Tsuka is going to be $1. Tsuka is going to be $5. Tsuka might be, as Uncle Nut said, $28 or $50 if it reaches SHIB's previous all-time high market cap. So this isn't a overnight get-rich-quick scheme. It's accumulate a blue chip asset in the depths of a bear market and know what you hold because of the community, because of the Ryoshi, because of the insane tokenomics, and be patient and let your patience reward you, whether it's in 6 months or a year or 2 years. It won't be 10 years. I think it's going to be 6 months, 1 year, or 2 years. Back to the giveaway. So basically, $2,700 today could be $1 million bag if you're smart. There are 72 winners of 5,555 Tsuka, which also can be a several $100,000 bag if you're smart. And then we have blue chip NFT assets, absolutely top of the line stuff. We have a Mutant Ape Yacht Club. Okay, that's in the Bored Ape family. If you win that, you get access to the Bored Ape Discord servers, huge community and network. And that was generously donated by Tsuka's top holder, Tubba. We also have an other side land deed. We have a Nizuki, and we have a rare ape Pepe. So there's 77, 78 total winners. There's no purchase necessary. You do not need to own Tsuka. Of course, what we want to do, and that's why we have this enterthedragonslair.com website. The only requirements are little things like, like the pinned giveaway tweet on our Twitter, which talks about the giveaway. Comment on it. We don't even make you tag 3 friends, because if you want to share it with friends, share it, but it's not a requirement. But we do require you to do a little bit of research and take a quiz. You don't need to have 100% to be eligible. If you just go and, mark random questions, you just want to get through it, you get a 0, you'll probably be, cut out of the running. But if you take a little bit of time and research, you do your best, you don't have to have 100%, but we want you to spend a little bit of time and dive in like we all have, to give yourself a chance to kind of go through the experience that we've all gone through. So that's that. And then another small aspect that we have just for this AMA today is 4 lucky winners of 555 Tsuka each. That's also donated by a generous Sangha member. And to do that, you just need to enter the main giveaway within the next 24 hours. And then when you comment on the pinned giveaway tweet, just put somewhere in your comment that you came from the Caesars AMA. And that way we'll look through the comments. We'll see, these 8, 10, 15, 20 people came from the Caesars AMA. Did they finish the quiz? Did they enter? And then we'll choose 4. And we'll announce that within 24 hours after this AMA. So that's the giveaway. And just very briefly, sorry, go ahead.
No, I'll let you finish, and I don't worry. Finish my question.
I'll just say a tiny, tiny little bit. I came into Tsuka at the end of June. I honestly have no clue how I found out about it. It was probably somewhere on Twitter. I have no recollection. But I do remember coming into the Telegram and just kind of, hey, what's this all about? And I was greeted, my favorite sitcom growing up was Cheers, where Norm walks in, afternoon, everybody, Norm, it's you want to go somewhere where everyone knows your name. And I just got welcomed, and I had, noob questions, and they were answered, and I was pointed to the research. You got to do your own research, but I read the journal, and the journal is just a compendium of Ryoshi's blockchain messages put into Telegram form. And I did my research, and I was blown away. And at the time, like many of us, I was absolutely wrecked. I had been degenning and shitcoining and getting honeypotted and getting rugged and, missing one and then trying another and, putting 0.25 in and, be lucky if I get anything out. And you can't go to sleep with the bag because it's going to go to shit. And that's what we all do. And that's what you guys are doing. And when I found Tsuka, I was able to stop all that. And I bought something that just blew me away when I was convinced of the Ryoshi connection. And it's been an incredible journey, but I was completely wrecked. I was down to, very little assets. And I put some in here, and, it's just been incredible. And like I say, I'm not looking at this for 100x tomorrow, but like Uncle Nut said, I think it is very early. You just have to shift your mindset from the typical pump and dump, am I going to get rugged today or make a 2x? And just, this is like Ethereum or Bitcoin. And people say Tsuka is like Bitcoin on the Ethereum network. You can shitcoin and you can degen, but you know what? Throw some ETH into Tsuka. That's not financial advice. Let's do your own research, but buy a blue chip asset that's like ETH, but ETH might go up from 1,300 to 13,000 if we're lucky. And honestly, I think Tsuka will do a lot better than go from 5 cents to 50 cents. I think $5 and maybe $50. $50 is just Shiba Inu's previous all-time high. We have superior holder distribution, superior tokenomics, and we have Ryoshi who's perfecting his journey. So that's all I want to say. Thank you very much.
Wonderful explanation of the giveaway, CB. I'm sorry, Maurice. I'm just adding just a few details about the giveaway. Yeah, a few hints for people who want to take the giveaway. So if you're not familiar with Tsuka at all, I strongly recommend that you watch the documentary that you're going to find on the YouTube channel. You're going to find on the link tree and on the giveaway too, so you can find it directly on the giveaway. So watch the documentary. You know, it's going to give you a quick intro, and take a look at the journal. It's a Telegram channel where you have all Ryoshi's on-chain messages. So it's a little bit hermetic, you know, like if you're just like stumbling upon this, it's not, some of this stuff is not going to make sense to you right away, and it's okay, it's fine. Just understand that the way it was structured initially, we could not add comments to the messages, so it means that we have discovered a ton of things about most of these messages. You know, many of them, they contain various ciphers, various indications, or various premonitions. And we have found them out, and we documented them on Twitter and in various ways, but they are not actually documented in the journal itself. So don't hesitate to take a look, and don't feel intimidated if there are some questions that do not seem obvious. You can find the answer. Come anyway. Part of the giveaway is to participate in the giveaway. You need to join the Telegram, and we strongly invite you to interact with the community. Ask for help in the main chat. People will be delighted to help you, and that's the way, you know, to take this giveaway. Don't make it a stressful or anything. Just have fun. You know, watch the documentary, take a look at the journal, interact with the community, learn about the lore, and hopefully you win one of the prizes.
Awesome, thank you. And I just went ahead and I edited in the what is Tsuka YouTube video documentary onto the main VC opening post, just for anybody who again maybe missed the AMA. If they wanted to check out the documentary, instead of having to go into the website or the link tree, they can just find it now directly posted on the channel. So I just edited that in for you guys as well there. So I appreciate you bringing that up as well, Lavani. Now I do want to get some questions here in from our community, if that's okay, guys. But I will give maybe Patty 5-10 minutes there to jump in. I do want to have him break down, a little bit why he got so bullish on it. He will definitely give you guys a bit more of a mathematical breakdown. So Patty, if you're ready to rock, man, I'd love to have you kind of come in and hit us with a bit more of the numbers side of things.
Hey, yeah, sure. Well, I first came across it at the beginning of July. And, as I mentioned earlier, when I first saw it, it was already up a substantial amount. So I was kind of just watching it as I'm doing my little due diligence breakdown on it. And, my due diligence breakdown entails a checklist of, 5 different things. And this is just something that I've done over years and years and years of, my vetting process, where I figure out, these are the 5 most important things. If this particular stock or token meets this criteria, then, I'll investigate a little more. So 99% of the tokens that people bring to me, it's just somebody who, created some new token, and they're saying it's just like Tsuka, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, it pumps for 2 or 3 weeks and then just dies. And it's like, as who was saying that? CryptoPunk was saying that earlier, like, it becomes tiring. I get tired of, people not only telling me, hey, check out this token, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm okay. Because when I first came across Tsuka, it was a token that checked all those boxes. And so I'm saying to myself, what do I do here? This thing is up so much already from where it was just a couple weeks ago. But I started telling myself, this literally has the ability to be the next SHIB. And so a lot of people don't realize, but I got into SHIB when it had a $50,000 market cap. There were 1,500 people in it. It went from a $50,000 market cap to 500,000 to 5 million to 50 million to 5 billion to 50 billion in 7 months. And so when I first got into it, I was saying, the math and the catalyst is what can trigger this to be the next big thing. So for months, nothing really happened, and then eventually people started catching on, and it gained that demand, and then it just kind of manifested and just ran. And that happened for a couple specific reasons. You know, it has these check marks of criteria that it meets. So at the time on July 3rd, I was doing a lot of other stuff. I was busy with NFTs and, you know, other altcoins and cryptocurrencies, but Tsuka caught my attention. And the main reason was when I started looking through the token distribution, the math to me was like nothing I've ever seen before. And yeah, I realize this is like the only thing I talk about now, but it's because it's so important. So, you know, I've been picking stocks and cryptocurrencies for over 20 years, and it's been like my bread and butter, where I'll find something and I'll say, this is valuable. And it may take a couple months, a couple years to reach that, you know, maturity level where it blows up. But, you know, people could go back and look at my track record since 2017, and I've been pretty accurate with things. So, you know, recently people are going, Patty, why you keep talking about Tsuka? Like, what is it about this token? And I'm going, it is a mathematical anomaly. And what I mean by that is the token distribution is fully diluted at 1 billion tokens, right? So the supply on SHIB was 1 quadrillion. That's a massive, massive number. You know, because of the token distribution, even though that number was massive, it didn't necessarily make it bad. But I would rather have a token distribution with a more, you know, reasonable number of 1 billion. So now this is one thing that a lot of people don't really grasp, that is extremely, extremely, extremely important, that gives Tsuka so much of this value that makes me feel so comfortable holding it. As CryptoPunk said, you know, you buy this token, it goes up, it goes down, you don't want to hold it overnight. I don't care with my Tsuka position. It makes no difference. I personally have 100% confidence in Tsuka. And the reason I could say this is from 20 years experience, the one thing that I've noticed that's been destroying all tokens is a massive amount of supply getting dumped into the market. So when does that happen? It could happen in a million different times. It could happen at the end of a market cycle. So, you know, all these people coming in, buying, the market blow off top, and then that money starts leaving. And what happens is all those people that were in those tokens, they slowly start to sell. They start to leak. So what happens is that supply enters without enough demand to keep the price afloat. So what happens is price goes down. It's simple supply and demand. So there is no team with Tsuka. It is like a meme coin 2.0. I'm calling it the first of its kind community-based token because the community is what dictates what goes on. So if every one of us that holds it has skin in the game, we have no risk relative to people that were given tokens. And what I mean by that is most tokens, when they come out, they go, hey, you know, this is our idea. This is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. We're going to plan to do it over the next couple of years. You know, we have this many team members. And then what happens is they put out the white paper, and then they put out the token distribution, and then it shows everything. And so you might have 50% of the token supply that goes to the public, and then the other 50% somehow gets divvied up for different things. So the team literally takes half the supply, gives it to themselves, but put some sort of restrictions on it where they say, okay, you know, 15% of the token supply will go to the team, but it's going to be 2 years before those tokens become unlocked, which means they could eventually be sold into the market. So at that 2-year mark, if you're a holder that's been in it for a year and 11 months, you got to start thinking to yourself, what is going to happen when this 2-year, you know, number comes up? And these tokens potentially can become unlocked and sold into the market. If I personally was in a token like that, I would probably have sold out before because I know the market psychology element plays a huge factor because people are going to be saying, okay, it's potentially possible that 15% of the supply is going to be dumped into this market. Where did that 15% supply come from? The team gave it to themselves. So whether they sell it anywhere, it doesn't matter because they still make profit from it. So that right there is a major risk. So you've got 15% of the supply that was given to the team that could be dumped at any time. So at that, 23-month mark, I would be selling because I'm saying there is that risk of 15% of the supply getting dumped. And if it happens, it's going to implode the token. So not only is there 15%, there's that additional 35% that got allocated to other things. So 50% of the supply was given to the team, which basically means that 50% of the supply at some point can get dumped into the overall supply. So with Tsuka, it's a fully diluted 1 billion. And so that means every person has skin in the game. So what I mean is the two biggest holders, Tubba and Verlin, when did they get in? They started to buy around 7 cents, 8 cents. I would say their average is probably between 7 and 10 cents. So the two biggest holders of this token that make up, they have about 35 million each, 3.5% of the token supply, which compared to other tokens is nothing. And what I mean by this is look at the top 20 holders of Tsuka. The percentage that they hold compared to every other meme coin on the market that I know is about half or 1/3. And what does that mean? It means that there's a more distributed token supply, right? So when Tubba and Verlin were buying in, they took millions of dollars of their own money and put it into the market. So right now they are assuming a large risk. However, if the price starts to go up, every penny it goes up, Tubba owning, or however many he has, 35 million, makes $350,000 per penny. The price goes higher. So if there was a whale right now that wanted to buy as many as Tubba, what do you think that would do to the price? So right now, the people that have solidified their positions and, anybody that bought in, even in late August, September, if you bought at 15 cents, 12 cents, I really think it means absolutely nothing because once the price breaks over this 15-cent previous high, it's going to take off. So guys had 6 months to accumulate positions. Old money that bought in early has sold and moved on. So for the last 5 months, we've been in this consolidation pattern of basically going sideways, new money coming in, old money going out, and we're getting close to reaching that tipping point where the demand will once again supersede the supply, and then the price starts creeping up. And so we have tons of catalysts in the making. We have this giveaway that's absolutely absurd. I don't think people really grasp the size of this giveaway. Just, putting into perspective, a single mutant ape, the floor on them is like 20 ETH. That's like, $24,000 that somebody could win with just the one bored ape. So it's like anybody not looking into the giveaway, it's wild. But, kind of just getting back to what I said, the two biggest holders, they have, 7% of the supply between the two of them. However, they bought at a price that's about 20% higher than where we are now. If they were given those tokens, if they allocated them to themselves like a team would, I would be a lot more afraid because they could literally sell at any price and still make profit. If the price dumped to a half of a penny, it would never happen. They could still sell for a profit because they were given those tokens. But it's really reassuring to know that the two biggest holders are holding at a cost average higher than where we are now. So the idea of dilution is the killer of all tokens. I worked at a hedge fund for a couple of years. I witnessed it myself. And what I mean by that is teams that may promise the world could say what they want, right? To get people's attention. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. So it's like, yeah, everybody might believe it. But then what happens is if you have a team that decides to start dumping on the community when the price starts to pump, what does that do for the community? Like, it's a slap in the face. I have been in that situation a million times over the past 20 years. So I've kind of given up on that element of the human element because it's unreliable. So when I look back at the last market cycle, I said to myself, what were the biggest gainers? The biggest gainers were meme coins. SHIB in 7 months made a 1 million X return. 1 million X. Some guy put like $100 in, and he had an unrealized gain of over $1 billion. So when I saw SHIB, I said to myself, this token made a billion or a 1 million X return. So when I came across Tsuka, it had the exact same structure, but superior. So if you compare Doge to SHIB to Tsuka, and if you eliminate the idea that one of them's been around for 7 years, and that's why it's got 4.5 million, and the other one's been around for 3 years, and it's got 1.2 million holders, and, you know, Tsuka's only been around for 6 or 7 months, and it's got, you know, almost 9,000 holders. On paper, what do those three tokens do? They're a peer-to-peer network. They're all the same. But the difference is the math behind Tsuka is superior to the both of them. So while most people in the market would feel so comfortable buying Dogecoin or SHIB just because everybody knows about it, the value is in Tsuka, because Tsuka does exactly what SHIB and Doge both do, but you could buy it for 1/100th the price. So that was the philosophy I had with SHIB. And I said, SHIB's going to be the next Doge because it's basically the same thing, but it's trading at a fraction of the price. So when new money comes into the market, if I say, hey, here's one Lamborghini, here's another one, you could buy this one for $1 million, but you could buy this one for 100,000. They both do the exact same thing, except this Lamborghini you could buy right here on this lot, but that one that's $100,000, you got to go drive, 300 miles to pick it up. So a lot of people are going to say, I am willing to drive that 300 miles to pick it up. That's basically like saying, figure out how to use Uniswap and buy it, as opposed to with Doge, with SHIB, you could buy it on any exchange, any marketplace, right? So it makes it more accessible. So if you have something that has a, Binance has millions and millions of users. So when Binance lists a new token, millions and millions and millions of people have accessibility to buy that token. So if I say, hey, buy Tsuka, somebody's going to go, can I get it on Binance? Can I buy it on Coinbase? No. All right, well, I could buy SHIB or Doge. Yeah, you can. But that value is not going to be the same, because value comes from usually doing things that other people can't do or achieving goals that others can't. So it's hard to figure out how to use Uniswap. 99.9% of the people in the world don't even know what Uniswap is. Even the people in the market, a large majority of them, don't know how to use Uniswap. So the philosophy I have is, if these three tokens do the same thing, but the token distribution is better for Tsuka, how is the risk worse for Tsuka than the other two? Knowing we have all these tier 1 exchanges pending. I don't know exactly when they're coming, but we know Binance is going to come. At some point, Coinbase will come. When that happens, and all of those millions of people that will then have the ability to buy Tsuka, what do you think is going to happen to the price? So we've got all these catalysts, lined up coming, whereas Doge and SHIB have already done that. They've already done it. So SHIB became the next Doge. So why can't Tsuka become the next SHIB if on paper it's better? It's just a matter of waiting until we get listed on bigger exchanges. It becomes more accessible. And then soon, when SHIB, Tsuka, and Doge are all listed on all the same exchanges, you're going to see how Tsuka is just going to absolutely decimate SHIB and Doge when it comes to total return on investment, because people look for the best deal. And there's a lot of people that are willing to go out of their way to figure out how to use Uniswap, knowing they could buy a token that does the same thing these other two do, that are worth billions and billions of dollars. So here we are at a $55 million market cap. Meanwhile, there's a token trading at 10 billion that does the same thing but is inferior. But because it's got 4.5 million holders, you could buy it on every single exchange in the world. Everybody knows about it. It's easy. The easy things never are the best. It's always, go the route of going the hard way, and it pays off. So if you're patient and you're willing to accumulate this token with 9,000 holders compared to two other identical tokens that have millions, that SHIB proved it could do it, so why can't Tsuka be the same? So, the whole element of no dilution, this mathematical anomaly of all absolutes, 0% or 100%, there's no deviation for error. So it's literally, I've eliminated the human element, and I'm just basing on the math. So I'm just going to wait and let these catalysts eventually drive the price higher till it reaches that point where it breaks 15 cents. And when it breaks 15 cents, I've been saying this for a couple months now, everyone will know about Tsuka, because when you look at that logarithmic chart and it breaks out, It's going to start pumping, and then everyone in the market's going to go, what the hell is this token? And then I bet once it breaks 15, give it a couple weeks, it'll hit $1. That's when everybody's going to start saying, what is this new meme coin? Tell me more about it. And all those people that were saying they're not interested at 5 cents because they didn't know anything about it are going to start asking, tell me more, tell me more. But it's great because that hasn't happened yet, but it will come. And it's like I can almost assure you this because math doesn't lie. Math plays out. Sometimes it takes a little longer than normal, but I am more comfortable in my Tsuka position than any other token I've ever bought since I got into the market. And it's like, if anybody wants to challenge me or call it a shitcoin and tell me there's no utility, I would love to have a one-on-one discussion or an open discussion explaining to you just how in-depth this token is, because it's not just a meme coin. It's a meme coin with Ryoshi behind it. Now, whether or not he is behind it, I believe perception is reality until it's disproven. There's been a lot of blockchain detectives that have tried to prove that it's not him. And somebody was like, they're saying Patty's the developer. And I'm going, oh, my God. So nobody's been able to disprove that Ryoshi's behind this. Everything leads to the direction that Ryoshi's behind this. Ryoshi's the guy that took SHIB from a $50,000 market cap to $50 billion in 7 months. Yes, market conditions were different, but this is better for us because we have literally 1 to 2 years, in my opinion, to let this thing build until that insane euphoria comes. So on July 3rd, when I bought in at a half a penny, I said, this thing can hit $50. And nothing has changed since that day, except the price is 10 times higher, which to me is nothing. Because next time it pumps, it could be 10 times higher again. And then you look back and you go, wow, I bought this thing a year ago. I'm up 100x. But now money's starting to come into the market, and this is where the fun really starts. So, at the way end of the market cycle, that's when all the crazy money comes in. So this thing could go literally from, 5 cents to 50 cents, hover there for 6 months, go from 5 cents to $5. And that would be, 2 years later. But then all of a sudden, the end of the market cycle, we get this insane euphoric top blow off. It could go from $5 to $50 in a week. And so that's why I really do believe it can hit $50. It sounds crazy, and me saying this, and it's just a meme coin. And Pat, you lost your mind. I didn't lose my mind. I'm very, very focused on what I'm doing, and I could comfortably say that this token is just my savior. It literally changed everything. I'm not the only one. I didn't get in as early as some of these guys, but I know that I am positioned in one of the best spots I've ever been. And if I just wait 2.5 years, I really do believe that my life will be changed forever. But the hardest thing in this market is being patient. So if you understand market cycles, you'll know mid-2024, Bitcoin halving, usually 6 months after that, market really starts pumping. So I'm thinking around Q1, Q2, 2025, this thing could be at $10 and then go to $100 a week later. So it's just a matter of the FOMO. I think this is going to be the ultimate FOMO token because once it starts moving, everyone in the whole freaking market's just going to get fired up about it because, everybody was talking about dog coins, dogs. Now it's dragons. Everywhere you look, dragons. So dragons are fun. The market's contagious or the community's contagious. And I always say emotions are contagious. If you're walking down the street and you smile at somebody, chances are they're going to smile back at you. So when I came into the Tsuka community, I had no freaking desire to get back on Telegram. I stopped using Telegram 2 years ago because it was driving me nuts. But the community sucked me in, and I couldn't get off the Telegram channel. And, here I am today, still in the same situation. But after an insane pump from May to August, we've been through a 5-month consolidation. So it's like, people are starting to reach that point where they're getting impatient. But I'm telling you, getting out now would be the biggest mistake of your life because how many times have you sold a token right before you reach that max, boredom, and then boom, it takes off. So we have literally endless catalysts. We could get listed on every single exchange. And what do you think is going to happen to the price when that happens? Look at SHIB. Look what SHIB got listed on Binance. Look when SHIB got listed on Coinbase. Look what happened to the price. Now, we are no different than SHIB, except better on paper. So it's just a matter of getting the word out, letting people realize This is the token that's going to eat, SHIB's face off, but people just don't realize it. But I'm telling you, once it starts pumping, the people that refused to buy in down in these levels will pay double or triple or quadruple just because they don't want to miss the boat. And I can't wait to say I told you so. But I don't want to do that. But I'm going to. So
I love it, man. Your attitude is definitely infectious, and I will say, it's refreshing because you guys have gone through the ringer, have gone through the tests of the community, have built up that strength and that feeling of camaraderie. And it's not every day. I mean, a lot of the times when we have AMAs on, we have been lucky enough to work with projects again, well over a year old. We've worked with projects going into billion plus market caps. But the one thing I'll say is a lot of projects in the space being newer is they don't have the experience. They don't have the luxury that you guys do. So the belief and the strength of what you've been through and what you've seen really does come across. And anybody from our community that's DM'd me, anybody in our groups that we have in our comment section, the one thing that's overwhelmingly come across from everything I've seen is anyone who's gone into your Telegram group is absolutely blown away. Very impressed by what you guys have done there in the community engagement side of things. And again, you don't control the market. Volume's down like 90 something percent, some chains even more. So I think, with what's happened, I will talk about your most recent dip. I think it was around a month ago. You guys dropped back to around 35 million. And then within 5 days or so from there, you guys were back over 100 million. So it's like, again, there's a lot of eyes on this. People are waiting for their positions. And when those positions become available at a certain level, they're gone quite quickly. So again, I've been watching this for a while. I do notice some of those trends. And I will say there's a lot of people just idly standing by waiting to see where the market goes and where they may be able to get their entry. So if you guys are open to it, I would, we've been going for about an hour and 35 or so, hour and 40. I would like to get in some community questions here. We've had some good ones sent so far, some really interesting suggestions incorporated. So we're going to kickstart here with Sujay. Willie, I also want to give you a chance. I like a couple of the ideas you had sent over to me with regards to, community activity, but we'll kickstart here with.
Hey, Maurice. Hey, everybody. Absolutely amazing conversation, presentation. Definitely blown away. And I second what Maurice said just a while ago about the community. I also entered the TG to, complete the quiz and everything. And there's such a warm feeling about the community somehow. Be it the moderators, be it the community members, amazing. And it's very interesting. One of my first crypto investments was Shiba, and I think Ryoshi was part of Shiba at that point when I got in, and I was in Shiba for a very, very long time, and I remember when the whole Ryoshi exit happened, and I think that was the end of Ryoshi's story for me. And with this presentation today, you kind of continued that story, and I can now connect the dots. And you sort of told us what Ryoshi did afterwards through his messages and how you connected that to Tsuka. So amazing. My question was around the messages that you have been deciphering in the Ryoshi's journal. I see they keep coming in every few days or a couple of times in a month. Who is actually deciphering these messages on from the Ether blockchain? Are all those decryptions credited to the Tsuka community or the developers, or are you gathering it from all sorts of different places, or are there other people who are trying to take credit for it?
Oh well, we're really crowdsourcing the effort in the Sangha really, but we have some kind of a star crypto, I don't know, a star code breaker in the Sangha called Bob, Sir Bob, and we definitely need to get him soon on one of those AMAs or spaces because people ask about that. People are very curious about that, and he's by far the best to explain what he did. He's the guy who by far broke the most elaborate ciphers in the messages. So you've got different kinds of messages from Ryoshi. A lot of his messages are in it's UTF-8, so it's clear text pretty much. But he's used like various devices, like inserting capitalized letters in uncanny places and various other marks, like erratic spaces, missing words, other kinds of stuff to encode secret meanings in some of his messages, right? So it's
there have been some coordinates too, I believe.
Sorry, what?
There have been some coordinates too to a location. I think it was in Japan.
Absolutely, yeah. A location in Osaka, the city in Japan where people think the genesis of Shiba Inu took place. Yeah, absolutely. And many other things that it's absolutely impossible to sum them up. Literally, that's why I think we might do more, Tsuka fireside chats in the future, so we can go in more and more detail about what we found and our reflections about it, because it's so crazy. Anyway, I could ramble for hours and hours on minute details about some of the stuff he did, the way he, the way he did certain things. Now I see the meaning. I see why he did it that way. For example, the way he launched, the kind of contract he used to launch it. He chose a contract that he absolutely did everything he could to make sure it would look like an absolutely random token, absolutely nothing special at the beginning. He did not get any paid shield, any of these, like paid callers, early paid callers or whatever, absolutely none of that. And that ensured a very special kind of people got in, started looking and stayed in and started attracting similar-minded people. So even the very way he launched it was already absolutely crucial in determining who the early shapers of the culture, who the early community members were going to be. So and so just to answer your question, it's a collective effort. It's made by many people in the Sangha, and Bob is kind of our star code breaker. But we've had a few more members, including some recent people who took a new look at things, and we found some incredible stuff. But it's going to take you hours and hours and hours to see what we found, man. So definitely do come in the Telegram and ask about it and engage with us. Look at what we have. We've got a research channel on Telegram. We've got an operations hub where you've got like various themes where community members can discuss, and we've got an interesting chat called Ryoshi Research where you have a lot of conversations around this. So I would definitely advise you to join this channel.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Yes, very intriguing, very fascinating indeed. Thank you so much for elaborating on that.
Thanks so much, Sujay. I really appreciate the background. It's cool to know you have that connection as well to the SHIB community, and it's always nice to connect the dots in this space. I say continuity is definitely something that is not as often as I would like. It's something that you see all the time in the real space, corporate world, but that continuity isn't always something you get here in DeFi. So when you can connect the dots and again continue on the journey, it's really awesome. So great questions. We'll go here to Willie. I got him unmuted. Whenever you're ready there, Willie, you can go ahead, and then we'll get I think maybe Felix in for one after that.
Hey Maurice, how's it going?
Well, you're enjoying the day over there.
Oh, it's super awesome. Anyway, I'll make it short and sweet because I know you got a bunch of other hands for the big one. I went into TG last night. Got to give you guys props. Every question I came at you guys were answering and very active in there. For today for the AMA, I wanted to bring up the idea, I love the community thing. I'm real big on it. I actually worked on a project where they had an early investor, Shiba Inu, involved in it. And my question for you guys is, have you guys thought about building an internal network kind of like the Pi coin has, and it would be a place where people could build utilities at and different things like that for the project. And people could then go in there, and you'd have like a voting platform, and people could vote for what utilities they like, and it really wouldn't require any type of ownership of anything on your guys' part. Having to find out who the real dev is and all that stuff. Kind of keep that community thing going with it.
So William, PR, go for it, PR.
I mean, if you always can, Ivana, you're the man. If I start cutting out, take over. Yeah, I mean, we've got the hub right now, man. It's if you're in the Telegram, like everybody here has said, it's 8,500 people is a good amount of people, but it's a small, tight knit group. I mean, if anybody, every day somebody comes up with another idea, we put something together. It's being pushed by certain individuals. People latch on. But with the Telegram channels that we have and everything built out, and the operations channel, and just, the organization there allows for that. So if anybody does feel that Tsuka or the community needs something or is missing something, it's, even as soon as this, us being here in this AMA is the result of what you just mentioned. So, there was for a little bit of time some staking that was added as a utility, and it's an organic thing. So yeah, man, every arm, many hands make light work, and that's exactly what we're all about. So yeah, I think that's there. If that can be approved, that would be your contribution, as far as I see it. So
absolutely true. And one of the ways I could describe the process so far is that it's still a very open and fluid process, which means that anyone, and we've had some incredible things. We've got community members that joined us just a few weeks ago, and they're already like absolute pillars. Very, very important people. They brought brand new perspectives, a brand new kind of energy. So anyway, the principle is pretty much and Ryoshi actually told us the recipe. I'm not going to be able to use his exact words, but he said something like use your talents at the utmost for the Sangha. So people, your influence in the Sangha will be commensurate to the value, the effort you're putting in, and it will reflect in your own trajectory, in your own path, and also in the Sangha's culture. So a single individual who is very involved, who engages in the process, who communicates with everyone, who has can talk to their heart pretty much. This person might be able to shape the Sangha's culture in absolutely huge ways. So for now, that's the way we are shaping the early effort. So one thing I think is very important to say is that right now we have some kind of a consensus. We are optimizing for growth. So we understand we are in a bear market. We are, it's a very, very difficult, incredibly cutthroat environment right now. So what we are doing is we are building the community and building the brand. And we are learning as a community new ways and better ways to tell our story and to keep on building the community that Ryoshi wants to build. Because that will be the foundation to what we want to do later. And what we want to do later is something much, much bigger than what SHIB is doing, and that's what many so-called tier one infrastructure projects are doing. And for that, we understand that we need an incredibly powerful community. We need an undeniable asset that's liquid and big enough. So right now, absolute priority is on growth, but definitely there is like more conventional forms of utility are coming down the line. Even though I have to remind everyone that the absolute king of utility for an asset, for a crypto asset, is being used as a form of community money. That's adopted by community. That's pretty much the way we protect ourselves from the central bank agenda and what's happening right now. And I don't know if we have a few more minutes, you'll tell me, Maurice. Maybe I might go into a few more details about this aspect. But anyway, this is the king of utility. Bitcoin has the king of utility, and Tsuka in many ways is like Bitcoin on Ethereum, but with a better brand, with an ethos that's different, tokenomics that are also like more favorable in many ways. So yeah, if you know a little bit about branding and narrative, you look at Tsuka, you need to understand it a little bit. You know, you cannot just have a superficial look, 5 minute look, 5 minutes look at Tsuka and really get it. You need to delve a little bit deeper. But if you look at it, you will understand that it's definitely it's an absolute killer crypto brand, my friend. I don't even know how to say that. It's so much better than SHIB ever was. It is, I would say, it is the perfect meme coin to go absolutely global and mainstream during the period we're living now, which is, you know, very high inflation, financial crisis, extreme uncertainty, great reset looming, AI onslaught, and massively disrupting our space. Tsuka has exactly what it takes to I wouldn't say benefit from it, but actually be a real world solution to what's happening. So this is the master utility. But obviously, more conventional utilities will be coming. I'm absolutely certain of that. And Ryoshi told us pretty much that Tsuka's mission and the Sangha's mission is to save DeFi. So if you yourself have your own idea of what saving DeFi might mean, and I do have mine, and I do think DeFi needs help. You know, I wouldn't say maybe not saving, but definitely needs help. Definitely needs very deep reform. Then, you know, join us, my friend. Join us, talk, engage with us, and together, as we grow, you know, we're not in a hurry. We don't want to put the cart before the wheels, or I don't know how you say that in English, but
before the horse.
We don't exactly, yeah. So we don't want to to be too ambitious, right? We are building our community. We have a very strong, very powerful active core. We keep adding to it. We keep adding more and more community members that are broader community members, not necessarily who don't necessarily have as much time as some of the more active core members. And then, you know, step by step, we're going to activate the think tank element of the Sangha, and we're going to start thinking very seriously about how we move on with our greater utility. But right now, our utility is Bitcoin and Ethereum, a community that's unlike any other, an asset that you can actually believe in. You know, the community is one of the most powerful things about the community, and PR talked about this, and we had Morris talked about this, Paddy talked about this. Why so many people feel, you know, burned and very like disenchanted and disappointed by crypto and by some of the low cap sector, you know, because it's absolutely ruthless. And you've got so many of these assets, you know, they launch, and including many like, you know, low effort meme coins or meme coin of the day, whatever. And you have those communities and everybody's laughing, you know, everybody's pretending to believe in it. Everybody's pretending to be involved, trying to trap people who come after them. Blah, blah. It's kind of everybody knows that everybody's laughing, and it's you know, it's kind of disheartening. It doesn't give you a good feeling, to be honest. So I understand, you know, I'm not criticizing people who play with shitcoins. I did. I will probably do it again because it's kind of fun. It's interesting. It's kind of the mad scientist lab of crypto, you know, the shitcoin scene. It's very interesting and totally fucked up. But Tsuka isn't like this at all. And having this community, having this asset you can believe in, this brand, this ethos you can believe in is absolutely invaluable. It's absolutely priceless.
Just one real quick one here because I don't want to take up all the time. I thought, you know, looking at the chart, and I know that Patty went into a big thing there with the numbers and that and the top holders. I was curious if you guys thought about doing a community burn event, just because for some people, you know, the first thing they're going to look at is, you know, you got the 5 holders that hold about 20%. You know, and I know that, you know, they're at like, I think you guys were saying somewhere between the 75 million, 100 million range. And then after you guys hit that, it's kind of going to be like, you know, nothing's locked up. They're holding a big chunk. You know, some people are going to be scared to get in after you've kind of broken that barrier of now these people are in the green. Just something there possibly that you guys might have thought about doing, like a community burn, and anyone could put into like a thing and then have the tokens.
I think you guys did 14% on the 14th of December, correct?
So
what was that?
You haven't. Oh, yeah. So when it comes to to burns. Very honestly, I think burns are mostly gimmicks. I've seen them used in many ways, and most of the time, it's a gimmick. It's not a real driver. So I'm not a big fan of burns personally, and you know what? I love my Tsuka. I think Tsuka is precious. I don't think we should burn precious Tsuka. I think Tsuka is it's perfect right now with its 1 billion supply, and I think there are many better ways to use community funds or donated funds than just burning them. But I do understand your concern. I understand that many people, same thing. You come when not you, but I mean, if you come from a like conventional, with a conventional view of a meme coins or a community coins, and you come here, you look at the Etherscan holder, and you say, oh, there are a bunch of big holders. Indeed, and you know what? It's actually incredibly bullish to have those holders the way they are, because I challenge you to show me even one coin over the last 3 years. Show me one that has that kind of profile. Where you had the guys like Joe Grower 420, for example, who I don't know if you know that guy is kind of a legendary figure in low cap crypto. So I'm not gonna introduce him or whatever. It would be good to have him on one of those spaces, by the way. But he's one of the biggest holders of Tsuka, and he hasn't sold a single token. The guy is up, you couldn't believe. I mean, he at the top, I think his bag was worth $5 million or something. Absolutely insane. He didn't sell one token. You've got Tuba, you've got Verlin. They haven't sold a token. They keep buying. So, I understand your concern, and we need to explain. I mean, it's absolutely legitimate, and it's absolutely fine for people to come and ask about this, and we can explain, and we can show with proof on chain, those massive OTC buys that Verlin did between 8 and 10 cents, those massive DEX buys they made. Anyway, so I understand what you mean. I think at some point over time, there will be the distribution process will continue, and those big wallets will diminish in size probably, or their visibility in that way will not be the same. But I don't think a burn, a burn by our whales is in the cards, and I don't think it's desirable. I think it would be us doing the kind of thing that we haven't wanted to do. We are truly organic. We don't use any gimmicks. We don't use any tricks. And I think a burn would qualify as some kind of a little trick in that space. And it's also detrimental in many ways. Tsuka has 1 billion tokens. Very simple, very, very simple. And it makes our life much easier. Everyone's life much easier. You know the Tsuka price, instantly you know the market cap. And it allows us, also to rank properly on leaderboard websites and all that stuff. So frankly, I don't think we have any reason to mess with Ryoshi's perfect, no-nonsense tokenomics. 1 billion tokens is where Tsuka is. And don't be worried about our whales. Understand that they are, you've got those guys, they bought at a higher price than today. They bought massive bags, and they bought knowing very well that liquidity would not allow them to exit their positions quickly in any way. So they are here for the long term. And I'm telling you myself, because I'm actually in the Sangha and I see those things. So what I can tell you is that besides holding those bags, they're actually putting their whole weight behind the Sangha, and that's what we do. We've got do you mind if I yeah, sure.
Say something real quick? I just as a comparison.
Go for it.
Yeah. So, we're talking about the token distributions, and it's like, the top 10 wallets hold, 30% of the supply, or I don't know the exact numbers, but when you compare the token distribution supply numbers from Tsuka to any other token, there's not another token that you could find, at least that I have been able to find, where the top 20 holders hold a smaller percentage than what Tsuka has. So now, compare Tsuka to SHIB right now, right? SHIB is a lot bigger than Tsuka. So Tuba and Verlin, they own, 35 million. So the price right now, so they own, what is it, $1.75 million worth, right? Go look at the number 10, 12 holder on SHIB and look at the dollar value of what that is. It's $100 million. So the one guy that's the number 10 holder of SHIB has more in his possession than 2x the entire market cap of this token. So it's like you're talking about SHIB, and the guy in 10th has $100 million to dump, And you've got Verlin and Tubba, who are the top guys for us, but their value of their tokens is only about 1/60th of the 10th place guy for SHIB. So it's like there's a huge difference there. One guy, 100 million, that's twice as much as the entire market cap of Tsuka right now. So then, you compare you think to yourself, what price did these guys get in? And, as he was saying, they got in at, 7-8 cents. So right now, it would not be in their best interest to be selling. There's not enough liquidity. So they assumed a huge risk by putting that much money down, getting in. But I think that they understand the token distribution and the math behind it, which is why they're comfortably sitting on their position. So one thing that people don't realize is during a bear market, the volume is atrocious. When you looked at what the meme coins were doing near the peak of the last market cycle, they were trading 10, 20, 30, 40 billion dollars in volume per day. So imagine someone that has $1.7 million in Tsuka today, and fast forward 2 years, the market's pumping, the number of holders is now at 500,000. The top holders may be able to get out, like a fart in the wind. You won't even notice them. So, in comparison to perspectives, the holders for Tsuka are so much smaller than SHIB. But again, the tokens kind of do the same thing. So it's like, why would someone want to buy into a token that's valued at 100 times more than another token when they do the same thing? And it's like, again, you've got those massive, massive holders. Who knows where those tokens will go? I feel more comfortable with SHIB. And as he was saying with Joe Grower, he hasn't sold a single token. The guy had 34 million. He's got 34 million 6 months later. And it just seems like the community is different for Tsuka. The gimmick of burning tokens is a joke. People do it all the time. But where do those tokens come from? Those tokens are owned by someone that gave them to themselves. So by burning tokens, they don't give a shit. They're just burning a small percentage of the supply to say, oh, we're reducing the supply. But with Tsuka, who's going to want to burn their own tokens that they paid money for? Nobody. So burning tokens is just a simple gimmick for a lot of these, projects to bring people in. Hey, we're doing a token burn, everybody. Price pumps and then dumps right after. So it's like there's no need for any gimmick. That's why I could comfortably sit and say, I don't care if you want to sell your position, because someone else with a bigger brain than you is going to come by and understand what gives this token value. And they're just going to buy your tokens and then just be patient. And eventually, we're going to push over that tipping point, and everything's going to change. And I say when 15 cents breaks, everyone in the market's going to start talking about this little new meme coin that's the dragon that's, breathing fire across all these other big meme coins that just start stealing dominance from them. So never felt more comfortable holding a token. Hopefully that makes sense.
Let me just add one thing really quick to the question, Willie. And I agree with everything Ivani and Patty have said, but some people have of their own volition sent Tsuka in, which has been paired with USDC, added to the liquidity, and then burnt. So that has occurred. I'd also like to echo, Tubba and Verlin, 70 or 80 million. No, they were buying all the way up to 120, 140 million. And a guy like Tubba, this guy is a blue whale, okay? Not like a Shamu orca whale. And he's not going to get into something for a 2X. He is, and Sir Verlin as well, long-term, they're holding for many, 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 many X's. They're holding because they see the same potential we do, that this can be bigger than Shiba Inu. And then just in terms of kind of future plans and uses for tokens, rather than burning tokens, some of the top holders have contributed their own tokens, either to giveaways, such as the one we're doing now, that's all community funded, but also to set aside for potential tier one exchange listings. Because we do not have any team tokens set aside, because we are a zero tax token, there's no marketing wallet, there's no developer wallet. If we want to do a Caesars AMA and it costs money, we need to go to the community and raise funding for that. If we want to get onto a KuCoin or a Huobi or an OKX or a Binance or a Coinbase, and I'm not dropping any specific alpha there, although I do believe we will be on all of those, it's going to take money and it's going to take tokens. And we have guys like Tubba and Verlin and some of the other top holders who have not only been willing to contribute tokens, but also put up massive amounts of their own private capital. And that's something that's unique with Tsuka. I just wanted to add that little bit.
No, you're
yeah,
good.
we look forward.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to leave. We look forward to the time when everyone's in profits. That's not a problem. I don't think that's a good thing.
No, I totally get saving them and using them for the different functions there. And I was actually the other question was if you guys had the money together for the tier 1 exchanges, because I know some of them are a couple $100,000. So sounds like you guys already kind of answered that during the last part of the answer there. So appreciate the time, guys.
Yeah, and I'll just I can't divulge too much, but we have been actively working on tier 1 exchange listings. Some of the top holders in big whales have been willing to pony up private capital. Frankly, we were expecting, we're on Gate, which is a very excellent exchange, as well as many others. We probably were expecting a tier 1 before the end of the year, but with the FTX thing, that put a wrench in some of the exchanges, and they're taking things a little bit more slowly. And then we had the holidays, but I certainly would not be surprised if, in Q1 of this year, something happens along that front.
Thanks for your time, guys. I really appreciate it. And the time in the TG last night. I'll leave it to you, Maurice.
I really appreciate it, guys. And again, I do kind of have to transition to the closing statements. We do have another AMA that we have to start up here, if that's okay. But again, really, really excited to just introduce the team here and the concept to the channel. I mean, obviously, you guys are fairly well known, especially within the ETH realms out there. So again, really excited to continue this relationship. I know we're going to be sharing the stage again with you guys this Thursday as you come on as Rush Hour's guest for Coin Merge. So again, just really excited to continue that exposure and understanding the story. And I feel like every time we jump into one of these discussions, these chats, I pick up something new. So again, guys, I will just plug the giveaway one last time. Make sure you guys check out the post I put up this morning. There's all the information you would need on the giveaway, how to enter, both of the giveaways. There's an art contest ongoing as well that you guys can enter, drop a submission into. And then again, it's really exciting to just get to add our community into this one. I know I'm going to be super active in there going forward. I think of all the AMAs I've hosted in here for a year, I think this is the first time, Caesar stuck out to full 2 hours. So again, pretty bullish on that as well. But I'll pass the mic to the team here and I'll just let you guys close out before we officially wrap this AMA discussion with the team at Tsuka.
Awesome, Maurice. That was absolutely great being with you.
Yeah, thanks again, guys. Amazing to be here. The only thing I'd leave people with a thought with is go watch the video. It's absolutely mind-blowing, and it will get you meandering down a path that you can never stop. So with that, I'll say bye.
Thanks so much, Nut.
Yeah, guys, the documentary, guys, do the giveaway. Watch the documentary, get involved. You're not going to find anything but all the good things that are about crypto in Tsuka. So come join the community, come on by, say hi. Everyone's very welcoming. We're all here to make this happen together. So highest and best, you guys. Have a good day.
And one last thing I just want to say before I sign off is, people are quick to forget things. A lot of people in the market seem to just focus on prices. And, Tsuka was at 15 cents. It dropped down to 4 cents. People were more susceptible to want to buy at 15 than they were at 4. And it's like, I think to myself, why is that? And it's so many people in this market trade off, market momentum and volume. So when they see a token that's pumping and going crazy, As long as it continues along that trajectory, like Tsuka did from May to August, it continued to build this parabolic move where every high was higher, every low was lower. And if you could do that, it just keeps building and building and building. So the people that were wondering, how in the world did this token go from 5 zeros to 15 cents in just a few months? It's because it's a complete mathematical anomaly to the rest of the market. And if it's proven that it could do that once, just be patient. Because if it's done that once before, it could do it again. So all the people that have been holding for 3 or 4 months that are starting to get impatient here now, just wait, because it's reaching that tipping point where once it breaks over, I don't think it's going to look back. And, the analogy that I used once before is, if there's a 17-year-old kid that could hit a baseball 700 feet, that's farther than anyone's ever hit a baseball. What can he do when he becomes 18, 19, 20, gets stronger and stronger? That's literally how I'm seeing Tsuka right now compared to every other token. It's already proven itself. So if you understand the mathematical, situation behind it and the fact that it had demand before, where the community was the most contagious community I've ever experienced. So because the price hasn't been pumping like it has the last 3 or 4 months, the community itself has kind of settled down, and now we're back to the beginning, ready for it to pump again. So once it starts to pump, the one thing I want to remind people is, if you were in the community in May, June, July, August, you remember how, infectious the community was. And when the price starts to pump, people get excited. And when they get excited, they start posting and telling their friends, and they tell their friends. And that is going to be what propels this token, because there's nothing that's an outside force that can mess with it and screw it up. So as long as it starts to move higher, and if it makes lower or higher lows and higher highs, it's just going to do the same thing it did last time and build another parabolic move. And it proved that it could do it in the middle of a bear market. So if it did it once, it could do it again. And I believe it's just a matter of waiting until we have enough people in to kind of push it over that little point where it starts trickling higher, and then that's when everybody starts having that decision where it's, hey, do I buy this here now or do I wait? And I have a feeling a lot of people are going to wait, and then they're going to end up buying in much higher. So, we'll see how it plays out. But I just think that once the community, comes back to life like we saw back in May, June, July, August, people are really going to understand, what this token's capable of. And we've got plenty of time before I think the market really starts going nuts. So it's like, we've got all the time in the world to build. So we'll see. But thank you, everybody. I appreciate you having me on. And sorry if I talk too much, but I think I actually
never,
kept
man.
under wraps today.
I'll definitely be following along in some of your future spaces. You're really enjoyable to listen to talk about this when you can tell the passion is there. And that's what you want in a community member who believes in a project. So I know other projects, again, that's what they want out of their communities. So the fact that it's, here in bunches at Tsuka, we love to see it. Never have to apologize for that, my man.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
I also do have to give a big shout out to Punk. Punk, thank you very much for setting this up. I know we worked all the way back in the summer for a project you were helping out as a speaker. And again, I'm just really happy we were able to pick things up. And again, really, really glad to see how well you're doing in the space recently. I know, some of those utility projects we were both talking about back then didn't play out as we'd hoped, but happy you found a new home here in Tsuka.
Yeah, thank you, Maurice. Yeah, I was core founding team of RBI, and made a name on the Twitter Spaces. And we did an AMA with you back then, which I greatly enjoyed. But thank you so much for hosting us. You did a phenomenal job, and we look forward to doing it again sometime soon.
I agree. I know we got you guys coming on with us on the 19th. I know we're setting up a couple things for early next week, maybe Monday, Tuesday as well. So it won't be the last time we chat. And again, thank you as well for such an amazing presentation. I know you got a couple new holders here today. Caesar is super bullish on this one. I think he even changed his name and threw a bunch of ETH in because he's like, this seems like one of the ones you just buy. And he's like, in this space, you don't have that comfort of being able to hold all the time. So it's nice.